Coming up next on the Inherited
very
Podcast.
strategic and strict timeline. So from the meeting, I like to have, my first consultations are free. So I meet with you, and I just like to basically get to know who it is that I am trying to earn their business. So it's basically meeting you, meeting your spouse or your future spouse, your fiance, and just listening to you guys, just hearing my background, because at the end of the day, you have to see if I'm a person you want to hire.
True.
Right? So I basically have to bring my resume to you and explain why I could be the best candidate to plan your wedding. Because sometimes, most clients, they don't realize the need of having a planner because they're like, oh, we don't need that. That's an expense we can save on. But in actuality, when you bring a professional that's going to do all the legwork for you and ask questions that perhaps it may slip your mind, because it's their job to do so. It's their job to do their research and find out, okay, the venue that you're locating, do you know the capacity, and how many people do you have coming? Do they meet that capacity? And then also to finding out any additional rules and regulations that the owners of the venues have that perhaps you may not need to be the one communicating with them. Let me do that. Let me deal with all the headaches. Let me deal with all the back and forth.
Building a legacy, so watch how you step to me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chillin', man. Building a legacy, so watch how you step to me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chillin', man.
What's going on? You're now tuned to another episode of the Inherited Podcast. I am Sir Gates, and once again, most and foremost, thank y'all for tuning in each and every week. Make sure you go to YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you put on that notification bell, and also download on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Leave a nice 5-star review and a dope comment, and just share it with all your friends and family. But let's get right into the show. So today, yet another special guest, event planner Miss Patrice. We're gonna be here and talking about her life story, past, present, future, and all the endeavors she's been and has going on. So let's get right into it. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And how are you?
I'm doing great. Blessed to be here. Thank you. First and foremost, let's toast up for a good episode, a great episode.
Yes, let's do that.
Yes. So for a good conversation.
It's a great conversation.
So before I get started, a quick little icebreaker.
Sure.
So you can pick a nice little card out of this deck, right? Don't know what it's going to say, but, we both shall answer it. And let's see what it is.
Let's see what happens.
What we got. What would be the worst ingredients to fill a burrito with? I already got some of my answers.
Cilantro?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Right?
I don't agree, but go ahead.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so burritos to me, the delicious ones are, it has the beans, it has the protein, either your beef or your chicken or salmon even, right? You have your rice, lettuce, tomatoes. I think all that stuff is good. Sour cream. Some people love the guac, right? You can't go wrong with the guac. No.
Yeah, we got some differences here, but continue.
Well, the guac is, it's not for everyone, but it is good for you. It has like fatty acids. It's good
so
fats.
I've heard, yes, that for sure.
Avocados is good for you. But I guess cilantro is not too bad. Jalapenos, maybe too much jalapenos may not be the best because it has all the beans action going on.
Asking
so
for
that
a
might
whole
just
night.
be exactly. That might be a little bit too much. So
okay.
I don't know. That's what I think.
Okay, well, first off, cilantro has to be in the burrito. Any kind of taco, whatever, it has to be in there for me. But the worst ingredients for me, I would have to say beans, especially refried beans, negative. Let's see. Guac, I can do the guac. It just depends on. I really got to be in the mood for it. Like I've eaten it plenty of times before, but I usually say no. But if I had to put on the list, I would have to add guac. So beans, guac, black olives. Let's see what else would be disgusting.
Anchovies, maybe.
Anchovies for sure. Anything else is not of the heritage to go inside a burrito. But I do love the cilantro. Everything else, you name the cilantro, the pico, and it's just crazy. For lunch, we had burrito taco. So that's why when he said cilantro, I made sure he said, you want a side of your quesadilla? For sure. So cilantro, the pico, the onions, the proteins, either rice, get a good bowl from what's it called? Chipotle.
Yes.
Love it there. But other than that, yeah, my only two worst ones would just be the refried beans and
refried beans.
Guac, yeah.
So yeah, my daughter I have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She has some inside jokes about the refried beans. So I guess she would be in agreement with you, but I think it's just, an acquired taste or a preference for sure.
Acquired taste and an acquired stomach tolerance.
Right.
But nonetheless, so let's get into it, right? So what I want to do is just get your background, right? Just want to go back in time to young Patrice. Because again,
okay.
Your backstory, I'm pretty sure has some kind of influence to where you are today in life and what you love to do, right? So just take us back to young Patrice, household, growing up, just how that was for you, school, high school, college, just that whole environment for you. So tell us about that.
Well, so young Patrice was very shy and isolated, I grew up separated from my siblings. I actually grew up with my aunt and my cousins. My mom was actually away from me and my stepdad. So I grew up with my cousins and my aunt. So not really in the same household as my siblings. I got to know them like later on in life. So I enjoyed watching a lot of TVs and listening to music and watching video music. That was my thing. So I was always attracted to the arts. I danced. In my schools. I went to an all-girls Catholic school growing up when I was like maybe from the age of like 5 to like 9. Oh, actually 8. And so I danced throughout the entire time, modern dance, ballet dance, pre-ballet, like young. Okay. Not like and as an adult. And so I enjoy to dance. I'm a definite music lover. That was my solace. I found in that and just peace. And so my favorite artists were Michael Jackson, Madonna. Okay. Growing up, Prince. I didn't know, but I just love the sound, the music, the instruments, so that was my thing. And I love anything that has to do with creativity. So I love to paint, I love to draw, I love anything. When it's Christmas time, which was like the best time for me, I love to decorate the tree. I love anything that has to do with lights. And so that was always like in me, in my heart, And whenever I had the opportunity to participate in something like that, I enjoyed it, right? So whether it be like, I don't know, just to redecorate the living room or change out pillows, I was happy. And as a young Patrice, even as I grew up to be that person, I was extremely aware and attentive to like slight shifts and details, right? So I'd get home, let's say if my aunt got like a new picture frame and had it hung, I'd notice, like I would walk into the room and immediately something's off. Like, and then
just like me.
Yeah. And then I'd pick it up. I'd like, oh, there's a new frame. So I was always very attentive to any slight shift differences, any new items, so if I'm walking into a space like I am right now and I'm looking at your beautiful studio, like I know if you notice, I was like, is it me or is the painting matching our outfits? Like stuff like that would just immediately draw my attention. So I'm very observant, and so that was just my thing. And I enjoy just to be with my family. We were a very close-knit family. Holiday times was the best times. We love to cook. So actually, as I got into my adulthood, I ended up actually moving to the States with my mom and my sisters, my siblings. And they were huge. Like my stepfather on his side, I must have at least 18 brothers. Sheesh. On that side.
It's a big family over there.
And we are huge on family gatherings and cookings and so we're huge on the socializing aspect of it. So if you're, we love to host. I'm a natural hosting person because I grew up doing it. So it was always like our, my just my pleasure to have someone come over and I'd have to cook for them and quickly put something
That's
for them.
beautiful.
That was a thing. At some point, my sisters and I, my two older sisters, we all lived together, and we had a brother who used to work at a barbershop. And like literally, unexpectedly, we can expect any given Sunday, he can bring the entire barbershop crew with him and be like, oh, we're all hungry. So we literally had to like scramble quickly and just put something together. And it was fun because it was exciting. We felt, there was reward and purpose in that because we got to commune and laugh and we got to feed other people who need to be fed.
Yeah.
And just the whole social aspect of it, of sitting down and laughing and eating and listening to music, all that part is what I grew up in. That was my younger self. Went to high school in New York, in Washington Irving. That's where I graduated.
Okay.
So I was always in Manhattan. I grew up in Manhattan, 14th Street, Union Square. That's where Washington Irving was, Irving Place. So majority of the times I'm around all these creative people, dancers are in the streets. The school that I went to used to be an all-girls school, and then they were integrated into boys and girls. So again, found myself into modern dance in high school. So again, the dancing aspect was still there. And just basically, I just loved the city. I loved the bright lights. I loved, just everything about New York in the sense of just back then, Manhattan was just so inspiring. Not sure if it was because of the sky rise, all these huge sky rises and the different, how do you call it? Not the shapes, but
architecture and stuff
yes,
of that nature.
Thank you. The architectural designs, yes. And I just loved it. I just, I'm a daydreamer, so I'd just be daydreaming my days away, just watching as I walk the streets. So I just enjoyed the vibe there, the energy in New York, and the lights, and just in general, right? And then just the people. And so growing up in New York, and specifically I grew up in Brooklyn, but went to school in Manhattan, got my first job in Manhattan. I used to work at a dental office with my sisters.
That's a dope first job.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, let me backtrack. My very first job was actually at Foot Action.
Okay.
In Kings Plaza Mall in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And so I used to sell sneakers. So originally the salesmanship was...
So that runs deep in your blood.
Yes. I didn't realize I had the salesmanship skills until I went and started selling sneakers. And honestly, I loved it. I, can just basically meet someone and show them our top sneakers and or what they're looking for. And just, I loved it. I love anything to do with, I guess, then I didn't realize it, but I was a very customer service focused person, centered, like I enjoyed to make whoever I'm interacting with happy and find what they're looking for. So if it's sneakers, I want to help you find the perfect pair of sneakers.
Instead of just trying to make $1. I love that.
No, I want you to be happy. Like I wanted you to be like, oh yeah, that's dope. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Like that's what I want. I want to see that smile. And so, overall, there are different things, in life as you're growing up, that's always been a part of you. That's always been like, that makes up your makeup of the person who you are. But it's through this journey of life that you develop and like, oh, I was always like this. I always had this. I've always gifted in this way. I've always, these things were always inside of me. And it's not to cultivate them and realize what they are. And then just to grow and mature into and walk into it. But, all these things as I look back now, like to my younger self, I've always been a creative person. I've always loved music. I've always loved, anything to do with creative work and arts and anything in that sort of fashion.
Talented. Very. Well, just real quick, having saying that, right? One thing, I visited New York maybe 2 or 3 times in life. Well, that's one of my favorite places to visit. And what attracted me to it, of course, is that kind of how here in Atlanta, when it gets nighttime, you do see all the lights, but New York, it's just so lit up and just colorful. And of course, when you go into the good parts of it, Madison Square Garden area, just that the city parts and whatnot.
Yes.
It's just so, New York is kind of fast paced, in my opinion. Of course, it's just people going back and forth everywhere, but it's just to see the the community thriving, the big bright lights, and just looking out into that, and the Skyriders is very attractive. I love that. I love just to visit there. It was usually the wintertime I kind of went up there, but of course I want to go back very, very soon, but because all the whole pandemic situation and nowadays, I guess the air quality or whatever, I kind of just like, I don't know just about shit, but it's one of my top places to visit. But having said that, I want to ask you, you said that you grew up separate from your siblings, correct?
Correct.
But from growing up separate from your siblings, it sounds like you guys still had a very close relationship. So how did that work out, and why were you guys separated?
So we got separated because my mom at the time had to travel out of state, out of the country, and had to leave me with my family. And at this time, her husband, they separated.
Okay,
and so he
understood.
took the kids. She went her way, and she had to get assistance. So my aunt and my cousins came in, and I was fortunate to be just surrounded by love. Although I didn't have my mom or my dad around me, the love that my aunt, who was, God rest her soul, she's, gave to me and provided for me and my cousins. I just didn't have any wants, like any, beautiful. I was surrounded by very strong women. I grew up just seeing them working hard and just very positive. And my aunt, she used to work at a factory that created the threads for that would have to the baseballs that threads the baseballs, And so she'd come home, I'd help her with the wax. She'd have to wax the threads because that thread that they use with the needles to sew up the baseball had to have that. And so I'd come home and I'd help with it. I just didn't see anyone with any sort of like excuses or negativity. And so that was my first introduction to just seeing the capabilities of people who have a positive mindset and just, persevering mindset and just very tenacious and just not like not a poor me attitude at all. Yeah. But like a very like, no, it was like, okay, well, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to get done. And we're going to get it done. But also too, so grateful. Like I've never heard anyone complain, or I've never heard anyone lived in lack, or talk about their lacks at all. Like I didn't grow up hearing that. And so I was blessed to have that. So when I did reconcile back with my mom and my siblings, again, very strong, empowering women and just family and very strong family dynamic. Just that's what I grew up in. And so they were happy to see me. I was happy to see them because again, we didn't grow up together. However, because I was separated, so it was just like, and the distance, as far as the difference in my age and their age is just, it's between, I think, 10 to 11 years. So for the most part, when I came in the picture, they're grown, right? They're doing grown things. I'm the youngest, yes. And I'm still in front of TV watching all sorts of TV shows and, cartoons and looking forward to Saturday morning. Right. And so they're like grown and working. And so when we got close is when I was like about maybe 17 or so, when I became like a young adult, then we really started to bond as women and just hang out. And then they introduced me to heels. I was a huge tomboy.
Oh, so you was just little tennis shoes all the time?
Just tennis. I worked in a sneaker store. Tennis
shoes. You had to hook up too, so
right.
Yeah, makes sense.
Boots, tennis shoes, the era with the oversized jeans and the t-shirt, everyone that was a style.
Oh, you was styling and profiling with it.
I was a tomboy. I couldn't walk in heels at all. Like my sisters literally had to put the heels on me and said, all right, try to walk a straight line. Because
was it tough for you? Real tough?
Yes, it was.
I can only imagine coming from flat bottom shoes all day to this whole
I hated
arch in my foot.
I didn't get it. I'm like, what's the purpose? Actually, just to be truthful, I actually had sneakers on the way over. I just took them off.
And put the heel. Oh, so you still kind of don't like heels?
I have sneakers in my car. I'll show you after the show.
Saying sneakers for life, sneakers for life. But that's a beautiful story just to hear that even though you guys were separated for a period of time in your life, it was just nothing stood in between of that bond being bonded back together in a family sense. So with that, right, growing up, you're in event planning and things of that nature. So what kind of sparked that in you outside of the Christmas times and just being around family? Where did that passion just really arise from those moments, or was there something you seen, or you were in school and you say somebody told you about it? So just talk about your passion and just that birth of, I want to, for a living, plan things, decorate things, and just put things together.
So for a very long time, I was doing it, right? Family members, any gatherings, I'm setting the tables, I'm deciding on the decor, and we're going through this process. I would always be in charge of it, just naturally, organically. I'd be the one that wants to set the table or put the balloons up, or just like an innate knack for me. So then I actually had a friend of mine, Jason and Abigail. They were having a wedding, and I actually used to work for this company called LTD Commodities. They bought out this other company. It's AB Street Distributing, so it's a catalog company, and I used to do staging for them. So I'd actually work in the studios with 2 other photographers, and I would do all the different staging. So, like, for example, if this was a studio that needed to be staged, I'd select the flooring. I'd select, based on the PO from the art coordinator, which was based out in Chicago. So they'd send me the PO saying, we want to see this type of setting, So then so based on that, the directions of the art coordinators, I'd put the setup together. So my main budget and my main categories were actually furniture at home. So, for example, they would select the colors of the walls, or I'd have some sort of like autonomy of the creative,
the creative direction,
right? I'd have some sort of creative leeway as to freedom slightly, but it was mainly following the art coordinator's directions. But I do the staging, and so from staging, I did it so well based on the level of sales that are actually done online from the pictures that are taken from the studio, from the stagings that I've done, which they get shot and then it's posted on our catalogs based on the sale. Based on the sale. It's posted on our website based on the sales, then it's then posted onto our catalogs so that it is distributed with our catalogs, for the fall or the spring or so on. And so that's how I really start taking notice of, professionally, this is something that I can actually make a living of, because I had, the natural planning and staging and so on with my family. But when I took it into working a professional level and working with other professionals, and I really start to understand layouts and different, different, diagrams in that way. So I enjoyed that. So then it wasn't until my friend, like I said, Abigail and Jason, on their wedding, and they actually asked for me to be their event planner. If I would put together something, design it or decorate it, right? At that time, again, I wasn't thinking of event planning. I thought like, oh, this is great. I get to decorate right, and enjoy it and help my friends out. But then I realized that, okay, there's a lot. There's actually a great living and, to be able to do what you love and actually find a way to make a living out of it and make some sort of income and make it my own business. But again, this thought of me actually starting my own events planning company that wouldn't come until like at least a couple of years later. So this was back in 2015 for Abigail and Jason. So I'm still like in their living room and I'm still like with my plan. I dress the part, we gotta dress the part. I bring my catalog in and we're walking in and I'm taking notes of all that they would like, to see completed for their weddings, and I'm completely green. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm
they
like,
know that?
Yes.
Okay. Because sometimes people, they're just shooting their shot and just act like, I'm going in here so confident. I know what I'm doing. You may not know it's my first time, but I do it so well. Hey.
So I have this. I believe that you have to be fully transparent.
Yeah.
If someone decides to take a chance on you and work with you, and you say to them, "Hey, listen, I may not have knowledge about this, but I can do this. And what I don't know, I'll look into, I'll research, I'll find out." I feel like if you're that honest and transparent with someone, then, if they decide to work with you, it's just them giving you an opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
Which that's what they did with me.
You've done that decision.
Yeah, and I was grateful for it. So they knew that they were my first official wedding. They knew that, I've done things for the family, but nothing as on a wedding, like on that level. And they knew that, and they were willing to work with me. And also too, it was a very intimate, small wedding, which I was grateful for, because I don't think, because I was starting out, this was all new, I don't think I could have handled anything bigger.
Yeah.
You know, I feel
understood.
like when you are starting out, it's good to be grateful for the small projects, because
Indeed.
those are the things that you're learning from, and you know, you're understanding what and what not to do, and you're just which I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Every
always,
day.
as you should be, always.
Every day, right? And so and I was grateful for the opportunities, and then I took it, I ran with it. And the whole thing is, when I said I dressed the part, although it was my first project and it was a small project, I always envisioned things as like, it's huge. Like if you're having a speech, even if it's just like in front of 3 people, I imagine it's like in front of 3 million people.
Mindset.
Yeah. So I go in there like, okay, yeah, this is my first, but this won't be my last. So I'm going to go in there and dress like this is a big deal, because it is. It's their wedding.
No, definitely a big deal.
Yeah, it's a
you
big
can't
deal.
redo it. Well, you can sometimes, but initially
Right.
you don't want to. But I understand.
Imagine if I showed up there in my jeans and sneakers and a t-shirt and just like, oh, okay, so what y'all want to do? Like, you know,
It probably would have been like, let's
Yeah.
try to get somebody else. Yeah, for sure.
right. So I came with respect. I came totally professional, and you know, and like I said, I came to provide them an excellent service, and just, you know, and make the best out of this, so then I can potentially get referrals or you know, another job from it, because that's the end goal, is to actually get one job and then potentially get another job out of it.
Is that what ended up kind of happening as far as after that wedding? It was just the word of mouth that spread, or you just had to go
So I
foot to
actually
ground?
so actually that was in 2015, and then I got that I actually had to be at home, stay at home mom for a little bit with my children. There were other things that was happening at the time. I was married, and my ex-husband and I, we actually had property maintenance company that you know, he was building, and it was pretty big deal. And so I was working at a senior living company, doing sales. And so again, the entire time I'm thinking about starting my business, again, it's like 2017 where I really took it seriously. 2015, this was like a job, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's great, I get to plan my friend's wedding.
Yeah.
And then I actually got a taste of what it would be like to plan her wedding and to actually execute it, and seeing the results of my execution. Then I got the first taste, like, wow, I can actually do this. Like, you know, but having no knowledge in business and how to run a business, and how, or even if I wanted this to be my business, that wasn't like, you know, it was just more like, la, 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 you know, and I was working. And so again, because I was married at the time, and I was and then I was working and managing my children. So this opportunity was just like helping out a friend, not really foreseen later on. So it wasn't until when I started working at the senior living company that I was working, and I'm in sales, and I'm doing sales.
Yes.
So it's been there, yeah. And I'm doing so well in sales, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, and the thought came to me, I should marry the two. If I'm doing so well in sales, and majority of this business, it has to be some level of sales to it, right? You have to sell your packages, sell your products, sell your brand, sell yourself, sell your business, sell what your vision that you can bring to the table for your clients. So there's a definite level of salesman skills and just sales in general, right? That has to go into it. And so, and I thought like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. So why don't I just like stop making these companies all these money
Do it for yourself.
and do it for myself? And so that's how the birth was initiated.
Okay, so after that event, right, what can you remember was your most either favorite or notable event that you planned, or just that situation for you? What can you say that was?
My first one?
No,
Abigail and
after the
Jason?
first one.
After the first one. Which one? I'm sorry, can you repeat
Your
the
most favorite that you plan to put together. The one that you was like, okay, you got it, your first one. This is something I really want to do. Then the one after that you was like, okay, this one right here, either this is the one that's going to put me on, or this is the one I'm most proud
Yes.
about. So what was that experience? Which one was that?
So that was the one that we got featured on the Wedding Trends magazine back in August 2009. I'm sorry, 2019, because I moved here in Georgia.
Okay.
2019. So August 2019. So I work with a bunch of different creatives, and we plan and organize this event at the Miami Beach Women's Club, and we organized it with other different creatives and putting that whole together, this whole plan together, this whole actually fine. This was actually a fashion collaboration, right? It
For
was
a
just
fashion show?
no it's a fashion collaborated shoot.
Okay.
So the end goal was to get featured in a magazine.
Got you.
That was the end goal. And so I was grateful and happy that it actually happened, that we did get featured and ended up published in a magazine, because that was initially when we were discussing with other creatives. We have Jared and Martin. Those are photographers that I work with. And I had to actually basically get all of the pieces together, as far as like the florists together, as far as like the collaborators, which were finding the models, and basically the collaborative shoot, which is basically consisting of finding the venue, basically finding the hairstylist, the makeup artist, the person. It's basically planning an entire wedding, in a sense of, when you're planning a wedding, you have to get all of your vendors. You have to get the venue for the client. If they haven't found one, you have to help them find one. You have to then find the vendors for them, whether it be the DJs, whether it be the photographers, whether it be the the person that will be creating their cake. You'd have to be fine. If they need you to put a full package, you have to find the limo guy, whatever it is, right? You have to find all the vendors and then put that into the package. So doing a collaborative shoot is basically the same thing without it being a real shoot, but the purpose of that is just to be published, that your names will start to go out there. Sometimes it's great because you get to work with all these different creators, and they get to see your style. They get to see how you work. You get to see your discipline. They get to see your work ethics. They get to see your vision. They get to see if you're able to actually deliver on what you are saying that you can deliver. And so to me, that was amazing opportunity. And being that the end goal from when we were having this conversation was to actually get our works published, which we did. So that was like the most successful for me.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And so it's actually on my Instagram page, where the one that I believe the Georgia Wedding Circle, they also acknowledged, but that was a shoot that got featured in the Wedding Trends magazine in 2019.
Well, that's very good to hear. It's like you put in that. It takes so much to even that wasn't a wedding, but what you were just saying, it was like a whole process and a detailed situation to put into it. So even though you did just say a lot of it, just so say if somebody wanted to plan an event, whether it's their friend's birthday or bar mitzvah, whatever it may be, right? So what are some of the things that goes into just from start to finish, just the mindset, the preparation, the phone calls here and there? So if somebody wanted to do it, what is that process like from A to Z to sit down, plan this, to also with your end goal to have a very satisfied client? So what does that look like? 'Cause it sounds like it's a lot and it can be stressful.
Yes, it's a very, very strategic and strict timeline. So from the meeting, I like to have, my first consultations are free. So I meet with you, and I just like to basically get to know who it is that I am trying to earn their business. So it's basically meeting your spouse or your future spouse, your fiance, and just listening to you guys, just hearing my background, because at the end of the day, you have to see if I'm a person you want to hire. True. Right? So I basically have to bring my resume to you and explain why I could be the best candidate to plan your wedding. So planning a wedding is really like every single time. The entire time has to be documented, from the rehearsal dinner, from when you're getting dressed, from when you're doing your first shows, as far as like the managing that ceremony, it's just managing the entire event from beginning to end, from when if you're switching out of different outfits, that if you are doing the toast, all that is documented. So from the initial meeting, I have my planner, and I'm basically documenting all your wants, your needs, all of your visions, all of your, your just picking up basically what I see in your storyline with you and your spouse. What is that je ne sais quoi, like beautiful factor that just bind all together? And I like to also find out like my discovery sessions, like, what the things that makes you guys happy. Like, for example, if I know that you enjoy, a specific tree because that's where you guys met,
Yeah.
then I'd have to find out the significance of that and get the story behind it. And then, that's just me doing a discovery aspect of it. And then, of course, it comes into like, what exactly are you expecting from me, your expectations, as far as understanding that clearly, because I feel like the communication aspect is vital and constant communication aspect. So throughout the entire process, I'm communicating with you and your spouse, whether it be what venue or vendors or whatever it is that you're needing. My line is always open because at the end of the day, it's satisfactory that I want to bring to you guys. And I'm in close communication with the venue and the managers at the venues, and whether it be if you're having it catered, the caterers, if there's any special needs in the parties that you're having as far as your guests, whether it be I'm going to be putting together the guest list and all their if there's any food allergies. I have, if I would need to know that, if there's anyone that's wheelchair bound, if I would need to know if they're wheelchair bound and giving information to how to, and on the venues that are wheelchair accessible, accessible. Just all these things are very important because sometimes, most clients, they don't realize the need of having a planner because they're like, oh, we don't need that. That's an expense we can save on. But in actuality, when you bring a professional that's going to do all the legwork for you and ask questions that perhaps it may slip your mind because it's their job to do so. It's their job to do their research and find out, okay, the venue that you're locating, do you know the capacity and how many people do you have coming? Do they meet that capacity? And then also to finding out any additional rules and regulations that the owners of the venues have that perhaps you may not need to be the one communicating with them. Let me do that. Let me deal with all the headaches. Let me deal with all the back and forth. Let you just give me the list of what you want. Tell me what you don't want. Tell me your expectations. We just communicate throughout the entire process, and let me be the one that manage and make sure things run smoothly. Only thing I want to see is you coming out, you're smiling, your wife is smiling, you guys are like, this is amazing. I'm seeing people are laughing. All of your guests are accounted for. All of the table decors that you selected is that's what I delivered to you. Anything that I promised to deliver, I deliver 100%. The decoration is on point. The timeline, as far as me managing your wedding party, and as far as when they come out, when they do the first dance, when you do the first dance, when you cut your cake, all these things are going to be communicated not only with myself, but also with my staff, but also with the venue and also the caterers. Also, everyone will have a copy of that. So this entire management is not anything that. I feel like most the misconceptions are we don't need to be concerned about these things. But the fact is, you shouldn't have to be concerned about these things. You should let somebody else, who it is their job and their profession, to be concerned about these things. And you just show up and be excited about your wedding, about your beautiful day, and to the music list. I'm sorry, I'm hopping all over the place, but
you giving everything.
Yes, I mean, all of these things are basically all of that is why an event planner is hired, to make sure all those things are run smoothly from your, me finding out just the discovery process, if you have a favorite song, or, when was the first time you guys met, or when did you all share your first kiss, or, just getting to know knowing my customers is all part of it, right? Because we're bonding, we're vibing, you getting to know me, you see that I'm very interested in what's important to you both. And that should matter, because a person who's not passionate and interested in what matters to their clients shouldn't be a person that you consider to hire.
I agree 100%. And it's what you just said was a lot, right? It's so, not saying you said too much, but just the process you can tell is pretty tedious. So that can take up a lot of mental capacity in your mind on the planner side. One, dealing with people you don't know from campaign. Of course, you're getting to know them, but prior to that, I don't know these people. I have my life going on outside of my job and what I love to do. But now, yet here I am when I do get booked. All these things I have to use my mind for, and just do this, do that. So I'm pretty sure sometimes you could be stressed out. You could go through mental battles with that. So how do you deal with that extra capacity into your mind when you're planning, whether it's a wedding or any other event? So how do you deal with that?
It's a job. and it's one that I take very seriously. And so again, the end result for me is customer service satisfaction. And so in my mind is I need to make sure that I cross all of my T's, I dot all of my I's, and I bring everything to the table that I promised that I would bring to the table. And which is to make sure that I deliver an exceptional event for my clients. So my brain and all the things that I believe that I've been through in my life and all the things that I've balanced thus far, from motherhood, from being, married, now divorced, just all the different trials and tribulations that I've already gone through as a person, personally, and then still pursuing my business as an events planner and actually launching my business back in 2017 and actually having different clients and actually relocating and still pursuing and persevering to continue on my business and managing my life. And so I'm naturally balancing many, many different things on different levels mentally, right? But I find that all the things that I have gone through has actually strengthened me and equipped me to actually keep taking on this task, because without anything that comes easy is really not worth it, right? So it has to come hard. It has to come through hard work, and it has to come through basically balancing, multitasking, balancing different projects. And I've already been doing these things. Now I'm just gearing it now and shifting it to benefit me and my business so that I can utilize the skill sets that I've acquired over the years towards my clients and for my business. And so when I take on a project, and I don't look at it as mentally tiring or the capacity of it, I look at it as a challenge that I'm happy to take on, because the end result is to bring you satisfaction, which I know then if you're satisfied and you're happy and I can see that smile that I'm looking for and that satisfaction I'm looking for from you and your wife and that thumbs up or that, we're good, then I know that for sure that's one that goes on in the win for me. But also too, I know referrals is coming. I know that because I believe in the growth of business, 2-to-1 referrals is huge and maximizing and increasing your business, which is what I'm looking to do. So I'm not thinking about all of the mental aspect of it, because I know it all comes with it. So that's why I pre-prepared. I have a list of all the different vendors that I know for sure that my clients will need, or perhaps may not even be thinking about, that I can make a suggestion on, and when I'm putting together a package and their packages for their events.
So that's good. You bottling it up pretty well, because some people will be, could be a stressful thing to where they may go into a position of anxiety, or I'm a little bit, oh man, this is just so much. Why did I get myself into this type situation? But it's good to know that you're I don't even want to call it maybe compartmentalizing things, but you have your set processes and procedures to prevent those stresses and anxiety, or maybe some stages of depression that come through. So that's beautiful to hear that. But what I do want to ask, has there ever been a time, right? Let's just say either you was planning a wedding or whatever event, and you just had this one client, whether it was a bridezilla, groomzilla, whatnot, that you had to deal with. You ever had come in contact with some of those people? And if so, how do you deal with it?
So I don't view them as bridezillas or groomzillas. No, I actually see them as very detail oriented. Which I'm very detail oriented. So anyone who's coming to me and basically, like the last person I work with, which is on my page, I look at them as results oriented people, and they're seeking to get answers. And again, one of the things about me is I'm very transparent. If I'm working on something, I'm working on it. Oh, that slipped my mind. I'm going to get on it right away. I'll look into that for you right away. I didn't think of that, but thank you for reminding me. I will look into it. Oh, yes, I'm on top of it. This is this. So I give answers, right? People like to get answers. If you're asking a question about a specific time frame or specific, when is our rehearsal dinner? Are we going to have also cake tasting there? So I mean, like, when is our cake tasting? When is our food tasting? Whatever it is, right? In my planning, I should have all these things already organized and dated for when all these will happen, right? And so all you're asking is basically when and what and how and why and so on. So I should just have the answers for you. And what I don't have, I'll let you know I don't have, and I can give you, of course, an estimated time of when you can receive, when I can give you those answers, right? Or follow-ups. I do follow-ups. I make sure, like I said, the communication is constant, right? So there would never be a time where I'm not available for you or when you cannot, get a hold of me. Because again, this could be a situation where it could be stressful or it could be very non-stressful. And my part is to make it non-stressful for you. So you having access to me, asking me questions, that's not a problem for me because all I know is you're seeking questions to which I need to give you an answer to.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's really what it is. And again, like I said, I've worked in several different industries and sales specifically. I believe last year, actually, I was working in a 100% sales commission job. And I also got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I had to make a decision as to what type of procedure I would need to have in order to get back to work on time sooner than later. So that's what made my decision was the type of the procedure that I can heal quicker and get back to work. And so I'm a person that's always very strategic in my thinking and my thought process. So in any situation, I'm always either evaluating what am I supposed to learn, what am I being tested on, or how can I, like you said, compartmentalize it, right? And see how I can come up with best solutions and move forward. So that's how my mind works, especially in the work mode. When I'm working and I know for sure you're a client, you're my top priority. And so professionalism is top priority. Customer service is top priority. So I'm always looking to seek to give you your answers, always present myself in the most professional way and give you peace of mind. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, any type of event, any type of projects, any type of planning, big or small, you want the person to have peace of mind, whether it be my last project that I had. And this is a very particular, very detailed woman, at V Farms Boutique, when she had her grand opening. At some point, we had to step outside. I had to hold her hand. I said, let's close our eyes. Let's do a breathing exercise. Envision the event. Do you see it? Do you see how smooth it's going? Do you see how many clients are coming? Do you see how successful it is? That's what will happen. And so we had that. We closed our eyes, and I said, do you see it? And so, and then that's what happened. So I do love to keep, there's power in vision. If you can see it, it will come to pass. But of course, there's a lot of work behind it. It's not going to just happen without any work. You can't just envision things and then just pop up. No, there's going to be a lot of work put behind it. But if you're able to go into something with a positive mindset and envisioning the end result to be something that is very smooth and happy and power of the mind is important, then yes, it will come to pass. And I'm a person that believes strongly in visions and the positive outcomes of things. And I go into every situation that it will happen exactly how I see it, because that's how I'm going to make it happen.
Understood. I just love to hear that you say, as far as you kept mentioning, like the professionalism, customer service, and just customer satisfaction, because nowadays that's tough to come by. Like some business owners are just so profit driven to where their mindset is only about how much can I make off this person, how fast, how can I turn the table, get my next customer, X, Y, and Z. But so little do people know, if you just treat your client, your customer with so much respect, just let them know that, hey, like you say, I'm here for you and for your satisfaction. This how people work. We are communicative beings, right? So they're gonna send that when they're talking to their friends or their homegirls or their homeboys, they want to bring up, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Hey, I know a lady named Patrice, man. She did so well. She took care of us, And that, to me, I love the best form of marketing is the word of mouth, but that gives you the authentic
affirmation.
Yes, it gives you that, because it's like you actually experience this person, how they work, how they move, versus this, let me go do a Google search and shoot my shot off of online reviews or just online photos. But when it comes to word of mouth, that person has a firsthand experience with someone who you may be trying to work with. So the fact that you're putting customers first and their satisfaction, it's going to continue to take you a long way. And I just wish a lot of other business owners or brand owners would just put that at their forefront. Hence, like here, like I told E all the time, yes, we have a business to run this and that, but my main purpose when we first started, I must provide each client, each guest with a great experience. I want them to leave here just with the mindset of, man, despite of what we may have done or accomplished, it felt good to come here. It was just so like I had nothing to worry about. I was comfortable. So, and I put that in anything I do. I know for a fact how I myself may shop or go into places. I know I want to be satisfied. I want to know you really care about me and what it is that I really want.
Yes.
So I make sure I do it to people who I'm trying to solicit to as far as in my business as well. It's very
and that
important.
takes you further than anything else. That's why I believe, I really truly believe in it's a marathon and not a race, because anything that is a slow growth will be enduring because it's deeply rooted. Like you took your time to build this. Like I said, I'm back again, right? I mean,
second time's a charm.
Yeah. I mean, see my name on the screen, my nice glass of wine, just in the entire vibe, just the welcoming, just everything. That whole package is important. That's the reason why I said my discovery process is important for me, because I need to be able to sit across a person, look them in their eyes, and really understand who they are and what are they seeking, what are they trying to accomplish, and then I embody that. I take that in. I said, okay, well, let's get it done, and so that's important for me. And so I don't mind. I'm not looking at the time frame because I don't plan to retire anytime soon. I mean, there are people who are in Asia, they're still working at 90. So, as long as God gives me breath, I will be working. I don't believe in retiring. I think that, I believe you can retire from maybe working a corporate position, and then just focus on your own business. But if you are focused on your own business, there is no retiring, right? Because you have to continuously evolve and grow. And then there's a next branch you have to, go into a next branch. So who knows what God has in store for me? I'm in here for the long run, as long as I'm alive, right?
Amen to that.
So, I'm not looking at the time. I'm looking at, how am I growing? What am I learning? What do I need to acquire? How do I need to sharpen my craft and my skills? What do I need to learn? When I meet people, how do I foster relationships better? Which is what I'm learning, which is how do I build on that? How do I gain loyalty and trust? How do I do that right now? And then everything else will fall into place. I'm not concerned about timing. I'm concerned about really preparing myself. When the big time comes, I'm prepared.
Yep.
And I'm not going anywhere, right?
Yep.
That's what it is.
That's all thoughts and mindset of longevity in the game, which is going to take you far. Well, with that said, we want to pivot real quick, right? Okay. I know we talked off camera before about the situation, but just because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I'm going to go down that path, right? One, I don't believe in male speaking for women, especially on topics like that. So just take us through that journey as far as your history with breast cancer, and just also the importance of it from a woman's perspective. Because some young ladies may be watching now, old and young, whomever, but take us down your path and your journey and just expound upon it for us a little bit, if you can.
Yeah, it's extremely important, extremely important. There are good news, though. Technology and science and the medical industry has come very far as far as treatment options, and just, even from these pills that they give you, hormone pills, even after you have your surgeries and your treatments. I discovered that I had a lump in my breast. I self-discovered it back in April 2022. 22. My mom was there in the kitchen with me. And so I try my best to go work out when I remember.
As we all do.
When I remember. And I thought, showering and all, I felt it. And I thought, it's probably a strain. Maybe I did too much with the lifting or whatever. But then it was persisting. I kept feeling it. And then it was very like, it was like a small nugget. Like you can literally feel in the bulge. And so my mom was visiting. I asked her to feel my breast and to examine me to see if maybe perhaps I was mistaken. Yeah. And so she said, no, it's definitely a lump. You should definitely get it checked out. So it was an early discovery. It was non-invasive. So the ones that are concerning or alarming are the ones that are invasive, that actually have penetrated through your lymph nodes. Because if it has gone through your lymph nodes, then it can spread throughout your body and through your other organs, which is then, put you in different stages. Mine was a stage 0. It was a beginning stage. I literally found it stage 0. Yes, thank God. And so I went in and got in to the Duluth Women's Breast Center. I got in with Dr. Proctor and Dr. Robinson. They did a biopsy for me, and then they removed it, determined that it was cancer, but it was non-invasive because it did not penetrate my lymph nodes, and decided that we should have surgery immediately to remove it, which I did back in August of last year, August 22nd of last year. And then after that, I had to have radiation treatment. And now, mind you, again, when you are confronted with this, the initial thought is definitely like, oh my gosh, you know. And of course, as a woman, you feel like, you know, you're going to be scarred. And no one feels good about being scarred. And you have all these concerns and worries of what's the process of, you know, what's the side effects of radiation, which there are some, a lot. I'm still going through them. What is the time frame of healing, and what type of procedure should I have with my breast? You know, all these things are like questions, but also to what type of cancer do you have? Like, it's really important to understand the type of cancer do you have. Dr. Proctor, they did a genetic testing for me to see if it was something that was within my genes. It was not. So we have these calcifications that's throughout our bodies. And what happened with mine is the calcification, they clustered in that area and hardened. That could be due to stress, to the foods that we eat, you know, a lot of different factors that would cause the calcifications in our bodies to cluster and harden up, which is what causes the cancers. And in this case, in the location, which could have also entered the lymph nodes and then spread out. But thank God it did not. So what they do throughout this process as well, they did remove a few of my lymph nodes to test them as well, to make sure that the cancer had not entered. So thank God it did not.
Thank God.
So there's a lot of different. The biopsy is, it's not for the weak. So I'll tell you that.
Like, it's for like a mental aspect and painful, or
the mental aspect, but then also too with they do give you put the pain. It looks like it's not an epidural, but it is a painkiller, like a shot
like
around that area to numb it. Yes, thank you. And before they do the procedure, because they do have to cut you open. So I don't have any tattoos around my body except for the 2 marks, except for the 2 tattoos where they had to mark the area. And, you know, they cut you open so that they can test the lump to see if it's in fact cancerous. And so
you're awake this whole time.
Yes, you're awake. You're awake, and the nurse is holding one hand and then another nurse, and they're telling you to look forward, but at some point you're like...
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to want to see what's going on down here with the whole night.
Yes, and then at some point, the numbing it wasn't working, and I can feel, I was like, whoa, I can feel you cutting me, no. And so they had to actually give me another shot to numb that area. So it's like heavy pressure, you know. So that's a whole process. But then honestly, I would say initially when I got diagnosed, I asked a lot of questions, which I think is very important that us women do. You know, understand that the hospitals and the nurses and the doctors, they're here for you. They deal with this all the time. And they are here to answer your questions and to bring you peace. They're here to relieve you of any sort of anxieties. So I not only looked up the DCIS, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to misdiagnose myself or say it incorrectly. I didn't mean to bring the paperwork and look it over before our interview, but I forgot.
It's all good.
I forgot, sorry. But yeah, I did research, you know, the exact name and to see what are the length of the treatment that I would need to undergo and the likelihood of it returning, because they give you all that information. So you do have, that's why I have to take hormone pills for 5 years.
Oh, man.
And because the type of cancer it is and where it is, in order to create a blockage, a barrier, so that the cells does not penetrate through and enter the lymph nodes. So then they do provide typically after treatment, which is the radiation treatment that I had to go through. Then there's another 5-year hormones. And then with the hormones, I think the scariest part about that are the side effects. You know, you would go through like early stages of menopause. You would not be able to have children and stuff like that. So there's a lot of questions you need to ask about the hormone pills that they're suggesting, and ask what are the side effects, and if you're ready to go through that, and also ask if it's necessary. Because at first I was like, I don't know if I want to be on a hormone pills for like 5 years. That can cause me mental hallucination, and that can, have all these side effects, and so ask questions. Do self-diagnosis. There are places that actually goes over the proper ways, which is to put your hand behind your head and rub your breast in a circular motion. There are a lot of different signs of early breast cancers you can do research on and see what if you do have these signs. It can be whether it be the discoloration of your nipples and the shape of your nipples, a lot of either discharge coming through. So these are all early stages of that potentially need to go check out a professional and see if you need to get get some answers, right? Maybe some sonograms and so on. Sonograms are always good. Keep up the sonograms. I do know that women of the age of 40 we reach a specific age that you have to get sonograms. It's important, follow that, because these follow-ups are what will tell you if you're in good health or if you're not, or if you need, they will discover anything that needs to be discovered at that time. So sonograms are important. Self-checks are important. If you feel something, get it checked out. Don't wait. Again, the way that the way that they do the surgeries are very very advanced. They have robots that goes in there, and then the diagnostics. I mean the biopsies. Typically, they would mark the place that they did the biopsies. So once they're doing the surgery, they can see it. They use high tech robots, so they're very advanced. There's nothing to be afraid of. Let's just say that. I mean, it's very scary. Depending on the stage too.
How scared you was in this situation.
So I was very scared because again, I was concerned about I am working 100% sales commission, like I said, because if I'm not working, I'm not making any income, right? And so that's how I was taking care of my family, and so the worriness as far as that, and then also to the time frame that I'd have to be out of work would determine again income and providing for my family. So that stress factor was real for me, but also too, I was going to be deformed. I'd have to make a decision if I wanted to get implants or have my breast reduced and heal naturally to get back to work early. So I had to have it reduced so I can heal naturally, no implants, to get back to work early. If I had decided to go with the implants, it's a longer healing process and drainage and all that stuff. And I said, wait a minute, when will I get back to work?
Associates had to be put into a position to think about my livelihood versus health. They can go hand in hand. You got to have good health and make a living. But just in that situation was just like, I got to survive. So, no matter what decision you probably really wanted to go with, you had to choose whichever one that allows you to bounce back to get to your cash flow.
Yes.
That's a tough situation to have to decide, man. Sorry you had to go through that. Were you the first person in your family to have breast cancer?
No, my aunt, she has she's had breast cancer, my aunt on my mother's side. And my mom, she had multiple myeloma, which is another cancer, a form of cancer, but not breast cancer.
Oh, okay.
But when they did the genetic testing, they didn't find anything in my genes, so which was a little odd, and I don't understand how that works. But I guess apparently you may not be positive with any genes detecting any genetics, anything within your genetics, but yet you still can get it. Because I was concerned because I have a daughter, and I would hate for her to for it to be genetic, and then for genetics, and then for it to be transferred onto her. So I was like, oh no, please do the test. I want to know. And they said, no, it's not through that. So all of it was, but the whole thing is self-educate with the information that they provide you, look things up, do your own research, research, ask questions, a gazillion questions if you need to, because the more questions you ask, the more you understand what your body's going through, what you are going through, the more prepared you can deal with it mentally and emotionally to go through the process of it. Then it's asking questions about the surgery that you're having. What type of surgery? Why do you have to have the surgery? And how long is the surgery? How long is the healing process? Then it's like, well, how long will my radiation be? And, I had to ask that. And the radiation process in itself is a whole, you have some beautiful curtains here and they look black. And so that was the color of my skin afterwards.
Man.
Yes. And then that healing process is very painful and excruciating, because it's painful. But I actually had to return back to work. So my whole thing was I'd go to get radiation and then in the morning and I'd go to work.
Sheesh.
So there are times where I'm in so much pain that the pills that they're prescribed me, if I take them, I can't work.
Make you drowsy or
exactly.
something like that? Yeah.
Yes. So it was like as strong as like Vicodins, they're very strong. So I couldn't take them because of the drowsiness. So I actually had to endure the pain, maybe take some Advil, or another coworker of mine. She was really nice. She would give me some things to take for the pain. And so I'd have to deal with that and deal with my customers. And I'm just like
having to sit there and try to smile and
trying to smile and keep the ball running.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah.
I feel for you. I haven't experienced that. I don't know anyone personally, but you're a very strong woman to get through that. And the fact that, again, you still had to make a living while going through all of that, and you accomplished it. So kudos to you and your flowers for that.
I appreciate that.
You're a very strong woman for getting through that. So are you gonna have to deal with some kind of issue dealing with breast cancer for the rest of your life, or is there an end to it to where I'm clear, good to go, just live my life as it is?
So I have to go and get checked up, like follow-ups, checks with Dr. Proctor, my doctor. And for the most part, with the hormones for the 5 years, that would be like the best end results and predicting it not returning, but it's not 100% guaranteed. So it's prayer.
Lots of that.
Lots of prayer is my follow-ups, regular follow-ups. I also, honestly, I am a believer of herbal teas. I do drink natural green teas that I like, soursop, I believe it's called.
Yeah,
it's actually really good for cancer cells and killing cancer cells. So I actually drink that regularly, along with peppermint tea. I mix them together, and that's actually really good for you. I've known numerous people that all they drank was that tea, and it helped it stay away. So let's see what happens. I'll let you know.
Good luck. Like he's an herbalist, so link up with him and get you right. He knows all about that stuff.
Soursop is definitely, and also too in foods that we eat.
Yeah, I hear that plays a big part as far as when cancer cells come. Just our diet in general. Everything here is available, but doesn't mean you should be eating it at that. So, and I'm trying to do better in that realm as well, as far as instead of just what to the public is healthy or seems healthy, but actually you got to do some real research, because some of the stuff that's deemed healthy is actually not for you. So like you say, that whole research process is a great thing you should do, whether it is dealing with breast cancer or just health in general. So, and I'm glad I was able to touch on it. But again, always praying for you in that realm. I appreciate that. Null and void done.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would say that because this is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, myself, along with my other sisters, warriors in this fight, because it's a huge, long fight. Hopefully there'll come like an indefinite cure that cures it altogether, hopefully. But I really do think it's what we eat, stress level, managing stress, definitely what we ingest in our bodies. And, that's majorly important. But also, I'm not the only one. There are so many women that goes through it and that are just tenacious, that are just strong, beautiful beings. And, I feel like this type of experience, it can either destroy you or it can really build you, right? Nice. It can actually build your insides, like your characters on the inside, your mind, your mental strength. but also too, just, you know, it's not me alone. It's so many other women that's gone through this. Yeah. And kudos to all of them, you know, and some of them that have stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, you know, cancers, or, you know, different stages that are a lot more grievous. So I just feel like, you know, I'm grateful to God that the stage I was in, I was able to find it, and I went through all that, and by his strength, I was able to just endure, you know, mentally all the different stress levels, and difficulties that I had to encounter, but also know that I'm not alone.
Yes.
And there's so many different warriors out there. They're fighting through it, and, you know, we're all in this together. And so when I see any woman who's gone through them, I always like, I know that, you know, it takes definitely a different person here.
Yeah.
It changes you up here for sure, and here, you know, and I always give them hugs, and, you know, however I can support, I try my best
As
to.
you should. That's nothing to play with. Sometimes life or death situation there, and somebody who survived it, definitely is great to be there for the others who's either in those valleys going through it right now or have come out. So community is key. Let's say it takes a village sometimes. So
It sure
community
does.
is key.
It sure does.
So I'm glad you're on the other end of that right now. But so what's next for Patrice as far as events or anything like? What's next for you? What you got going?
Well, the good news is I did get 2 referrals from my last event.
Okay.
So I'm grateful for that, and I pray and hope I will get these accounts. And, you know, like I said, it's a slow growth for me. It's a slow burn. It's a slow walk. It's everything, because I want to actually master my craft. And so I am looking forward to those 2 events to actually knock them out the park and continue to get more events. And I'm working again. I'm still in my 9 to 5, literally. Actually, it's 8:30 to 5, but
Extra hours.
yeah, you know. And honestly, I love it. What's next for Patrice is continuous growth, walking in my self, realizing myself, my actualizing state, just developing and growing. I saw a post from our friend over there, and I reposted to kill the ego, yes, to keep the smile, yes, all of it. I can't remember all of it, but I was like, yes, I'm in love with this, and I had to repost it. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think, and more than, especially nowadays where we are in the day that we are in social media and just this world and age that we're in, and going within is what matters, is what's important, you know, building and strengthening that, and just, you know, and just surround yourself with positive people, and just build off of that, and just strengthen yourself, and really protect this. Protect your mind, protect your spirit, protect your energy. Oh my gosh. That has been, like, I would say, my biggest aha moments, and which is really what I'm going to fortify myself around, is protecting my space, my spirit, my mind, my energy, and just becoming stronger and stronger as an individual, as a woman, for my children, for myself, but also to just, you know, the sky is the limit, like Biggie says. So, right? That's what it is.
I love that. So you're in a good mind space, a good mindset. I know you're going to accomplish everything you want to get done. So, but before you head out, right, last 2 questions for you.
Yes.
So if you could go back in time and I'm not here, young Patrice is sitting right here, right? What would you say to her?
Oh, stop being so afraid. I would say stop being so afraid. Trust yourself. Believe in you. You don't need to have anyone else believe in you. Just believe in you, and believe in your strength. Believe in you. Believe in your inner gifts and power, because sometimes people tend to try to make you feel like you're just a regular. No one's a regular. We all have different DNAs for a reason. Our prints and our thumbs, our bodies, everything about us is uniquely different. So you can't be the same, even if I think you share this, where a person can have a project and another person start different but have a different flair to it. We're all unique and different. It doesn't matter if I've done something and you're recreating it. It will be different, because what's my vision, what's in my mind, who I am, will make it different, and totally vice versa. And so I would tell her not to be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of her own greatness. Don't sabotage herself as much as she plans to because of fear.
Yeah.
And just get rid of fear. Try to master how to live without fear controlling her. That's what I would tell her. And
Good
just
words
trust
from
in her
yourself to
grace.
self. And one thing about you said, as far as this is how little think about it, maybe minuscule to some, but how we're not regular and we weren't placed on the earth to be regular. Just think about it, right? When we were conceived as children, once that process was happening, out of those millions and billions of sperm cells, right, only one makes it to that edge.
Yes.
So if you just put yourself in that mindset of, you literally beat out millions of other chances to get here, but you were the one to make it all the way to that edge with like maybe thousands of others at that point, but you were the one to get in there and sit down in your birth. So you're here for a reason. Your purpose is magnificent because you beat billions. Don't think about it just because it's sperm cells. You beat billions of other people coming here. So we're all special. So that's how I live in that and just knowing like, man, I made it here for a reason. I've been fighting hard since the little small cell, and I'm gonna keep fighting hard every day. So and
to even piggyback on what you just said, even being a light, right? Even just being if you want to look at it less as stars in the skies that comes in for a moment to be a light here. Each of those billions of stars are all different, all different sizes, different shapes, all of that, right? Again, that's us. That's us. So we can't all be the same. I don't care if 10 million people do the same 10 million things. That's why 10 million event planners can exist and still be a booming business because we're all not the same. Who I am and the essence of who I am and my spirit, my energy, who I bring to you will be completely different than who you are and who you bring to me. So that's why we're different. And we'll always be different. There can never be two of anything. Even twins are different. Identical twins are different. Right. So there can never be a two of anyone. We're all one person. So if you lose one, you just lose that one.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So before you leave, right, if you can, there may be a young girl, young boy, old, however you want to call it, who wants to get into the event planning space or who wants to start a business but don't know what to do, how to start, or how that motivation. So if you can, just look into that camera, right? Just give somebody some motivation, give them some advice, just speaking to them to help them start their journey.
I would say start. Just start. Take the step. Look it up. Research. Ask questions. Just start. Once you have the strength to actually take that step, all of a sudden things just start to align. And more things happen, and more things happen, more doors open. So some doors may close, but they're meant to be closed for a reason. Just start, just go. Just take that risk and just jump. And that strength and that courage that you have to take that step will open up everything else. Everything else will fall into place. Just do it. Don't be scared. Don't let fear rob you of your future. That's what I would say to you. Just go and get it. You got this.
Y'all better take that in and listen to it and apply it. So do you have any announcements before you leave, and also let people know where to find you on social media?
Yes, I am on social media, Prepared Just For You Events. That's my business page. And I do have a website, www.preparedjustforyou.com. And so that's where you'll find me. And any events that I plan, I will be posting it on that event space, event platform. And that's basically it. I'm always on social media. Not social media. Always on Instagram. My personal IG is Patrice Nobility 1. And I love positivity. I love love. Anything that's inspiring and light. That's all I'm about. And that's why I'm here with my bro.
You got that right.
Here for the long run because, again, it's a marathon, not a race. So we're all in here for the long run. So I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So again, you guys, thank y'all for tuning in. This was another great episode of Inherited Podcast. Y'all can find me on social media at SirGatesBC. Follow the podcast page at Inherited Podcast, NHERITD Podcast. And until next time, we're out. Another great episode. Thank you for a good one. That was good.